Ladies and gentlemen, ladies like that 2000 and now Mercedes. Dipping and dodging traffic, they're like the guards still at it, but my life is hell. But listen, welcome to my haunted mansion.
Welcome back, I'm Fox at FOXYGames_UK. Subscribe to the channel and follow via Twitter for your source of aggregate news, rumour and video game discussion with an emphasis on PlayStation but spanning a variety of platforms. And if you're new to the channel, do let us know how you found us and remember to thumbs up if you liked the video. Views expressed in our videos are those of third parties and do not necessarily represent the views of Foxy Games UK. All relevant links can be found in this video's description. And with that out of the way, let's get into our first news story of the video. In an opinion-based article published by PauseResume.com, combined with an article published by my boy Romudeth at Geek.com. Check it out. Microsoft are no longer Sony's #2 competition, as Nintendo's super popular Switch is selling faster than the big N can make it. But first, the PlayStation 4 and Sony's console domination continues. So 2017 was another successful year for the ever-growing colossus that is PS4. Not only was the PlayStation home to a slew of excellent exclusive and multi-platform games, it has also continued its staggering sales numbers in hardware sales. The PS4 is a freight train that has doubled the numbers of its competition and currently sits at over 70 million units sold in its lifetime, somewhere around a region of 78-79 million by now, I'm sure. What is most bizarre is that 4 years after its launch, when console sales usually plateau and begin to see a decline, the PS4 had the best Black Friday sales in the company's history. Sony announced that their 364% increase in profits in 2017 was primarily due to the PS4 and its incredible popularity. Now, of course, this flies in the face of 2012 predictions that consoles are dying. This seemingly was the mentality that Microsoft had when they revealed the Xbox One. By listening to the suits and ties, Microsoft spent the majority of its press conferences talking about console functionality, how the Xbox One could watch sports or use Skype, and forgot to focus on what really matters: the games. Sony, on the other hand, tried to appeal to the core gamer and showed game after game after game. They used jargon such as "we care about gamers," "this is the console for gamers," and showed the audience that they really meant that with games the audience would resonate with and be interested in. Things would only get worse for Microsoft at E3 when they essentially shot themselves in the foot. Not only was the Xbox One priced at a $500 point, the inclusion of the unnecessary Kinect added $100 to that price tag. Microsoft's new console was an always online DRM restricted mess. The creepy Kinect was always watching, the inability to buy used games, all of that resonated terribly with the consumer, and with Sony's excellent E3 conference, there was little Microsoft could have done to undo the damage. Now, I think it's fair to say Microsoft did not have the greatest 4 years in terms of first-party output either, and when they did have first-party games, they ended up being underwhelming, or they were games from franchises that were suffering from fatigue. We saw this with Gears of War and to some extent Halo 5. In addition, major first-party titles like Cuphead, Crackdown 3 and Scalebound were shown way too early in their development process and suffered delay after delay, in the case of Scalebound, a full cancellation. Now, Sony could have let Microsoft dig their own grave and just watched. Instead, they buried Microsoft under their own mistakes. Sony has played this console generation masterfully, with their marketing team putting in hard hours to make sure that the console succeeds and continues to grow as an ecosystem. The marketing team was so successful, in fact, that they won in 2014 an award for Best Marketing in the industry. Sony managed to secure marketing partnerships and brand deals that would see massive franchises like Call of Duty and Destiny to be timed exclusives to the PS4, whether it would be through DLC timed exclusivity or a game being marketed with the PS4 in mind. These deals ensured that the casual gamer associated those games with PS4 and assumed that they were exclusive to the PS4 in some cases. Now, the importance of that in the launch of a console ensures not only excellent sales at launch, but it also works to ensure that the consoles remain relevant through their lifespans. Think back to the 360, where Microsoft really pulled the same strategy. Perhaps the key to Sony's success this generation is the quality of games being released on their platform. That is not to say that previously where there was lacking quality. However, since 2014 the PS4 has had at least one exclusive in the top 5 best reviewed games of the year, an incredible achievement for Sony's first party studios and also excellent for the PlayStation's ecosystem longevity. While exclusives don't generally mean a console success, If we take a look at the PS3 and its lineup of exclusives, Sony has made them matter in this generation. People are buying PS4s to play Uncharted, to play Horizon Zero Dawn, and having exclusives that sell consoles is really huge, and while generally each company has one or two, Sony has made strides to ensure that it has several excellent first-party titles that will sell bucket loads of units. And that's where that particular article ends and the next one begins. Here's how the Xbox One lost this generation to Switch and PlayStation 4. Courtesy of Geek.com, check it out. Now, this generation hasn't exactly been great for the Xbox One. Right from the start, it has waged a losing battle against its direct competitor, Sony's PlayStation 4. Now, Microsoft's console faces a war on two fronts, thanks to the Nintendo Switch. With the PS4's dominance and the Nintendo Switch's rising popularity, the Xbox One is in true danger of losing its number 2 position. In fact, if things continue along their current trajectory, the Xbox One will undoubtedly end up in 3rd place by generation's end. Now, of course, hearing this isn't something Xbox fans and especially the fanboys will take lightly. However, given all the evidence available, it's the only logical outcome. Anything can happen in the next few years. However, with the way things are going, there is no scenario where Xbox One can manage to get ahead. This is due in part to several important factors. Now, as mentioned in the first segment of the video, we're all familiar with the Xbox One's reveal event, focusing more on media than games, a draconian DRM policy, and that $500 price tag. Xbox One failed to meet the initial success of its predecessor, the Xbox 360. Things improved for Xbox One over time when Microsoft wisely dropped the Kinect peripheral, ditched DRM, and lowered the price, and brought Phil Spencer in the run for the Xbox division. Now, still, this wasn't enough for Xbox One to close the sizable gap between it and PlayStation 4. The Xbox One isn't a bad system, far from it. I own one. Unfortunately, it has never been able to overcome its early blunders. I feel the gamers are holding this against Microsoft. A current lack of big-name first-party titles has only exacerbated the problem. Now, a few weeks ago, it was reported that Xbox One has sold roughly 35 million units worldwide. Now, a few weeks ago, some people say a year ago, some people say 6 months ago. I certainly saw this around October, November of last year, but this number is an estimate and it is not official. Unlike Sony or Nintendo, Microsoft doesn't disclose sales numbers for its console. While 35 million sounds like a large number on paper, it actually isn't, at least compared to the PlayStation 4's 76+ million. Sony sells 2 PS4s for every Xbox One sold by Microsoft. The 2-to-1 gap has remained consistent throughout this generation, and it's only getting wider. PS4 is absolutely destroying Xbox One. There is no conceivable way it will ever catch up, let alone overcome it. Now, then there's the Switch. Nintendo's console hybrid handheld sold 14 million units in less than a year. If Switch really continues selling like this, it will surely move 25 million units or more by the end of 2018. New installments such as Pokemon and Metroid and Super Smash Bros. Will certainly send units flying off store shelves globally. Going by current sales, it's easy to see Switch is selling 40, maybe 45, even 50 million units by the end of 2019. It's possible these projections are actually conservative. If we've learned anything, it's to never underestimate the demand for the Switch. It's also important to keep in mind that Switch is the newer of the two consoles. It certainly doesn't have the horsepower of PS4 and Xbox One, but those systems are seeing their twilight years. Conversely, the Switch still has many good years ahead of it. And if you think about how amazing 2017 was for Nintendo Switch, well, the platform has yet to truly hit its stride. Now, even stating the system will sell 50 million by next year is playing it safe. Unless Nintendo runs into manufacturing problems like last year, there is absolutely nothing stopping the momentum of this console. It's off to a nice sprint now, but expect it to transition to a full gallop sooner rather than later. And projecting Xbox One sales numbers is trickier. We know it has sold 35 million units since November 2013. If we round that number out to 36 million, that's 9 million consoles sold per year. Xbox One may sell another 9 million in 2018, bringing it up to around 45 million, way short of where the Xbox 360 was at this time in its life cycle. Console exclusives like Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2 and the annual Forza installment could help bolster this number in 2018. Again, it is hard to say since Microsoft does not give out sales numbers for the system. Now, discussing when a generation ends isn't exactly easy either. Based on current reports and rumours, Sony will launch PS5 in late 2019 or at least early 2020, the first quarter. This would signal the official start of the 9th generation of consoles, and funny enough, Nintendo Switch is considered a 9th generation console despite the power deficit. However, it would not mean the end of the 8. After all, both Sony and Microsoft continue to produce the PS3 and Xbox 360 well into this generation. Going off how long it really took Sony and Microsoft to end production of their last gen consoles, it's likely we'll see the end of this gen around 2022 to 2023. And as reported by Games Industry Biz, and reported by FOXY Games UK fairly recently, analytical firm IHS Markit predicts consumers will spend more on Nintendo services than Microsoft this year. Consumers spent $10 billion on Xbox services in 2018, but they spent $8 billion on Nintendo. Nintendo's sales include Switch, the SNES Classic Edition, 3DS, and games both physical and digital. IHS Markit predicts spending on Nintendo products and services to go over $11 billion this year, while spending on Xbox's services will dip to around $9 billion. And it's not just IHS Markit. Other analysts believe Switch will detract consumers from spending on Xbox One and PS4 since those consoles are nearing their end. Switch's eventual online service should help bolster money spent on Nintendo. Consumers spent over $20 billion on PlayStation products in 2017. Analysts expect this number to drop in 2018, but not significantly. Now, given everything outlined, it's hard to see Xbox One beating Switch or PS4 in the next 4 to 5 years. The PS4 is now the name most think of when it comes to gaming. Its #1 place is all but secured, even after the PS5 gets announced. Switch will continue selling well. It may not catch up to PS4, which will doubtless sell over 100 million by the generation's end, but with that said, Switch could pull off an upset and eventually arrive in first place. Microsoft has the Xbox One X, but by the time the more powerful PlayStation 5 hits, the system's power advantage will instantly evaporate. With a string of must-have exclusives, Xbox One could make a miraculous resurrection. Unfortunately, it would be too little too late for the system. For better or worse, the system has simply lost the console war. Though Xbox One won't win this generation, it isn't a complete failure of a system. It certainly pleases its core audience. Those who only play on Xbox One still have access to most of the games found on PS4, in addition to Xbox exclusives. On top of that, there are the upcoming Xbox One exclusives talked about earlier, like Ori and the Blind Forest, Sunset Overdrive, a personal favourite of mine, Gears of War 4, Halo 5 and Forza Horizon 3, which are still available. Now, if you're happy with your console, your Xbox One, then having it beat PS4 or the Nintendo Switch is totally unnecessary for your enjoyment. Just have fun with your console and don't worry about PlayStation sales or what the fanboys say on Twitter. Now, there is still hope for the Xbox brand during the next generation, and with PS5 possibly dropping by, say, fiscal 2019, it's a safe bet the Xbox 2, whatever they call it, won't be far behind. Microsoft will likely correct the mistakes made with Xbox One and build a system focused primarily on gaming and with a plethora of exclusives. It's probably best for Microsoft to focus on their next system and let Sony and Nintendo duke it out. If they play their cards right, Microsoft's next system could very well be as dominant as the Xbox 360. But that's a story for another day. And that's where that particular article ends. Now, both articles hit the nail right on the head. I couldn't agree more. I'm not actually sure how much I can add to this, only to reiterate what my boy Tony said, Tony Polanco, Mr. TP, and the first article that I read out to you. Both of them obviously are based around what Microsoft should do next rather than now, because I think this generation is a total loss, to be honest. However, the games are there. Multi-platform titles are there. Microsoft has said that they have plenty of games in the works from a first-party standpoint. So I guess we should just all wait with bated breath. Let's see what happens at E3 2018. Yes, wait till E3. We've heard that plenty of times. But I really actually think that Microsoft could pull something out of their sleeves this time around. But that's just my opinion. What's yours? Because that unfortunately brings us to the end of another video. But let's continue the discussion in the video comments, and for more PS4, Nintendo Switch and Xbox One coverage, subscribe to FOXY Games UK, and if you found any of the information in this video at all useful, go ahead, hit that like button and help us reach more like-minded gamers simply by sharing this video. And for just $1 USD, £1 UK or equivalent, become a member by joining FOXY Games UK Patreon and help us grow. You can find the link in this video's description. Thank you for all and any support. And there we have it, regardless of the console you enjoy playing. Until next time, play games, not corporations. Thanks for watching, everybody.